What we're going to show you here is a real easy way to practice, and we're actually going to practice on a grapefruit. You notice I'm wearing rubber gloves here. Always work with your machine, whether you're practicing or not, use the rubber gloves because it's hard to get used to handling everything with rubber gloves on. If you do it without them, just for your practicing, when you really start to tattoo, you're going to put these gloves on and everything's going to feel different to you. So get used to working all the time with rubber gloves. You should always have them on. I'm going to show you again how to set the machine up. I'm going to set this up with an outlining needle. We're going to open up a package of needles here. I'm going to get that set. What I'm going to use on this for the practice, this is a number 5. That means there's 5 needles in here that are pushed to a round point, and it's an outliner. It's a little different than the shader. I told you before, the shader is more like a brush type configuration in the needle. So we're going to set this one up in here. What you want to do is take the needle. You see how the hoop is on the bar? There's a little break in the hoop here. It's coiled that way. What you want to do is set that into the machine. Go through the bottom of the machine. Set it up. There's a little rubber grommet on the end of that armature bar. You're going to push the needle bar over that grommet so it's on there good and tight. Okay? If you have a problem getting this onto the grommet, I'll show you another way you can do it first. You can take the grommet right off the end of there. You can see there's just a little steel post. You can actually insert the grommet into the needle bar. Sometimes this is easier because they're hard to get on when they're on the machine. And then just run it the other way through the machine. Just pull it through. And then just stick the whole thing right on the end of the armature bar. You always remember that when you put this needle on, the hoop is going that way. So that's the way your needle is set. You'll see how the needle is soldered onto the bar. The needle's got to be on the bottom. The bar should be on top, the needle's soldered to the bottom. Now your needle's in the machine. You loosen up the chuck a little bit, that's going to hold the tube. We're going to get a tube out here. I'm going to use the tube here with a bigger grip on it, just because it's easier to look at. Slide that up inside of there, and then you're kind of basically threading the needle through the little end of the tube there. That's all you want to do is get it so it falls right inside the thing. And be careful with this too, you don't want to bend the needle when you're doing it, so go real slow. And then just draw that up and tighten this down. And I'm going to show you the end of this tube so you know how far it went in. We're going to tighten this chuck up here so the tube doesn't slide around. Now you'll be able to see the needle's in, the tube is set onto the bar. The needle is going to just, what you're going to do is loosen this again and just slide that tube up until that needle just protrudes through the bottom of the tube. And it's about maybe the thickness of a couple sheets of paper is all that needle is going to stick out of that tube. And I'm going to push on the armature bar up here and force the needle to come out so you can see about how far it's coming out. You can barely see it. You can, if you touch the end of this tube and wrap your finger across it, that needle would be barely coming out. And then when you push down on the bar, that's about how far you're coming out. I'll put this up against the glove, maybe you can see. So that's what the needle looks like. Barely sticking out of the tube, and when it's fully projected, it's coming out just about that far. You're just a few millimeters, it's coming out. You're only going down 3 layers of skin. You're not trying to dig down in there. Once you've got that set up, you take the 2 rubber bands and you just slide them down around the needle bar. If you remember before on that chart I was telling you, the needle's going up and down, the armature bar. Here's the set of contact points. So when I step on my foot pedal, that's going to send power through the machine. You're going to keep your foot on that pedal constantly, the machine will be running, and all the machine's doing is on, off, on, off, on, off. The foot switch has nothing to do with the on and off of the machine while it's running. You'll step on it, the machine will go. If you want to stop the machine, you take your foot off the pedal. Now that you've got the machine set up, I'm going to plug it in. I showed you on the other chart that you could use a set of clip cords that go between these 2 posts. I'm going to use an RCA jack on mine. It's got a little jack, so all I have to do is plug it in. I'm going to run the machine now, and you're going to be able to see it actually working right in here. You'll see I'm going to step on the pedal. My foot is on the pedal, the machine is running, and all it's doing is turning these magnets on and off and causing that armature bar to make a contact and then release, contact and release. And you can hear the machine running. It's not running too fast. I'm going to go over to my box here. I'm going to let the machine run, and I'm going to show you the difference in the sound. You can hear the machine run. That's a normal sound that your machine should run at. If it sounds like that, you're running the machine way too fast. If you run it like this, where it starts to sputter and hesitate, you're running the machine way too low. So all you have to do is just take your dial once you've got the machine set up and just keep turning the dial till you get it to sound at a nice, even, should just sound like that, a nice tone. And then you're pretty much ready to start the tattoo.